What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan!
and today we're back at it to answer more questions from you guys in another installment of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. We also have super thanks. If you guys enjoy our content and you want to support the channel, you can send us over a super thanks on this video or any video. If you send it on this video, we will answer whatever question you have for us. You don't have to ask us a question, but if you do, you're going to get an answer, guaranteed.
And this question comes from Malak. If the Necrons and the Eldar are so much more technologically advanced than the Imperium, and the Imperium is less advanced than the Golden Age of Humanity's Imperium, then how can the Imperium really fight against everything else in the galaxy and win?
That's a really good question, and I think you have to remember like the timeline because you did mention Necrons in the beginning, right?
Right, Necrons, Eldar, yeah.
Yeah. So all of the other races are pretty much coming off of their golden age. They were debilitated during their golden age. So the Necrons had the Great Sleep, which basically put them to sleep.
Yeah.
Essentially.
The Eldar, they had the birth of Slanesh, and that really wrecked them and is continuing to wreck them through like eating their souls and not allowing them to bear children as easily as before.
Yeah, and then you have the Orcs, whose downfall from the Krork was a long, long time ago, even after the Eldars, or before the Eldars, I should say. So the Imperium was just in a really good spot at a really good time to capitalize on things. Now that Necrons are awakening, the Eldar are still going to be dying. Like that's their thing. But now there's a bigger challenge, and it's Necrons, Chaos, and Tyranids. So the supremacy of humanity will be tested in the coming eons or whatever, because I feel like GW is going to like slow drag everything.
Right. The thing that I feel is keeping them alive as an Imperium is two things. One, faith, because that is what really pushes like the Sisters of Battle and humanity to have hope and to fight on stronger against all odds. And the other thing is they have untold amounts of manpower to just throw at the enemy. If the enemy can phase through physics and like alter reality, just throw a whole bunch of Astra Militarum at them, and eventually they'll get tired, they'll get bored, or they'll just leave for some reason or another.
Right. Yeah. So like moving forward, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, since humanity is kind of dwindling, more people are turning to chaos, more worlds are getting eaten by the Tyranids. I feel like they're just getting stretched too thin, but then we had the Primaris. Right. So it's just going to be a whole cycle, a whole rotation of that same theme coming over and over again.
Yep. But good question, and I hope we kind of answered it, because it is one of those things where it's like, well, like timeline-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Next one comes from Twist Jane. Do you think that all Primarchs will return to 40K in your lifetime? That kind of goes along with what we just talked about.
Yeah.
I feel like yes. I feel like within our lifetime, because we're 30.
So give it another 60 years?
No, 20 years. I feel like in 20 years, they're going to bring back like all the Primarchs, and then we're going to have some type of like end times.
I feel like that's too little. Because, I mean, think about when Gilliman came out. That was, what, 4 years ago?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like when Gilliman came out, we were all like, yeah, no, there's never going to be any Primarchs. GW is just going to continue to push this, like, no progress within the storyline. And then, boom, Gilliman. Boom, Mortarion. Boom, Magnus.
Oh, and then we got Angron right around the corner, too.
Yeah, so I think, like, GW eventually is going to be like, no, yeah, let's roll out the Primarchs, all the Primarchs, and maybe even the Emperor.
True. And not just that, but we have Primarchs in Horus Heresy that are coming out as super Primarchs.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. But
more than 20 years, you're saying?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I think like another thing that kind of what we mentioned before is that GW is they made the Tyranid super OP. And then now they're just kind of like, no, we're just kidding. They're not that OP. They're making Necrons OP now.
The Voltan were OP, at least in rules.
Yeah. And then it's like, no, hold on. Like, and I think the backtracking is going to get to the players and eventually going to be like, all right, yeah, you're right. So, like, the reason that the Imperium is still supreme is not just because we're trying to sell minis. It's because the Emperor returns or Lehman Russ returns or, things like that.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But we'll see. 20 years. I give it 20 years. If we're still making videos in 20 years, damn, look at us.
Míralos, bien sexy.
Next question.
This one is by Chevy Chase. You guys may have been asked this already, but what do you think about the Sanguinor becoming a vessel for Sanguinius to be able to return?
So the Sound Alchemist has an entire video dedicated to this.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's a little wishy-washy currently whether Sanguinius is dead, if he's in a near-death state, if he is dead, but he's alive as like a warp construct. And depending on which one of those ideas you try to explain, the Sanguinor could be the representation of Sanguinius. So in a way it is kind of like Sanguinius. Or it could just be, like you were saying, a vessel. A means for Sanguinius to come into real space, into the material world, and help his sons. Similar to how like the Death Legion, right? That's what they're called.
Yep.
The guys with the skulls and the fires. Yeah, Death Legion. I don't know why that sounds wrong. But yeah, that could be a thing. If not, go ahead and check out the video. I think it's called like The Return of Sanguinius or something like that.
Top 3 ways Sanguinius returns.
There you go.
Like we have a short on it too.
Yep.
It came out recently. I think like in the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Next question.
GFish17. Do you think GW listens to their Warhammer fans? I want them to show some appreciation to the fan base and the community that has been built up. Somewhat. It depends really, because if you're loud enough, they will listen. Because we heard this with the Tau, and we saw this with the Leagues of Voltan. Their rules were super overpowered to the point where tournaments were saying, you can't bring the Leagues of Voltan. So think about this. An army that has been hyped up for years is making a return, and you buy them, you paint them, you build them, you spend all this time creating a list. That's time, money, and effort, and you can't even use it in a tournament. What a slap in the face. And, we all know Games Workshop is not cheap. Right. So spending all that time, putting all that blood, sweat, and tears into it just for it to be null and void, obviously GW would listen, and they changed up a few things with that. So they do listen, they do cater to the fans, and they also kind of cater to content creators, kind of. I mean, there is an NDA that obviously got leaked, and you guys can read for yourselves what you can and can't do, but they do help support YouTubers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah, they're doing way more than what they were doing back in the day, which was essentially nothing.
Right. They're just quiet about everything.
Yeah.
Next question comes from John Sebi. Did you guys ever acknowledge that you read from the wikis like robots without giving credit? So that was like a thing that happened a long time ago. We have been on YouTube for a really long time.
Yes.
We gave you guys the lore based on the codex, which came, and the wiki comes from the codex. We give the wiki credit. It's in all of our descriptions. The link is always there. Even to this day, whenever we say link in the description, people still go, where's the link? Yeah. So it's just like, it's there. The credit is there. We have a ton of like homebrew stuff. You have the Celestial Suns.
Right.
We have Horrible Realities. We have Daily Lives. We have
fanfics.
Yeah. The majority of our content is not actually GW stuff. Recently, I posted a story on Skitarii Guevesa, which is a homebrew chapter that I created where I'm mixing the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Tau Empire. All of that gets ignored just for the sake of people like you saying, like, you steal from the wiki. Like, it's the fucking codex.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. And then also shout out to like Vaults of Terra and like all of the old school lore masters that existed before, where really what we were trying to do is just put out like the lore so that people can continue to play, because we're experiencing this right now. There are moments within your hobby career where you don't have friends that play.
Right.
We haven't played in like a year and a half or even more.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on 2. Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like watching these videos, reading the lore, and if you have somebody daily saying like, hey, remember this game, hey, remember this, like it's beneficial. So like that's what we are. I mean everything else is just kind of like whatever.
Right, supplements to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a while since we've at least touched upon the wiki.
Yeah, we should go back to like doing more nonstop kind of lore. And I was thinking about that because like there's a story that came out, or a YouTube story that we put out for the Battle Wagon.
Mm-hmm.
If we do shorter videos like that for you guys, where we just talk about individual vehicles, individual characters, individual like unit types, would you guys like that? So comment down in the comment section below, because it already exists in the archives, but it's old.
Yeah.
So like if you guys want us to revamp it, we could. Just let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you guys want, because we've done battle reports back in the day.
Yeah.
But I doubt you guys come here for battle reports.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah, on to the next question.
Yeah, this one comes from the big one. Is it worth going to jail for stealing delicious crab legs? I don't think crab legs should be that expensive. You can go to Hooters. Hooters has like crab legs for like $30. It's like £1, they say.
Yeah, but I mean, once you actually take off like the shell and all that, it's
right.
not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not, because I would die before I go to jail because of allergies.
He bloats up like one of those puffy fish.
I was gonna say like a great unclean one.
There you go.
And the last question is by Balrog's Butthole. Do you think that Gaskell will get Gork and Mork to revive Old Pale Eye? And with Yarick dead, do you think that Gaskell will now fall as he has no more good fights?
He has a ton of good fights.
Yeah.
He has, what's his name? Blackmane?
Yeah. Ragnar Blackmane. The dude freaking decapitated Gaskell. So of course he's going to want to get revenge.
Yep.
Not just that, but there is a slew of other powerful opponents that he could, turn his gaze upon and actually start crumping with, like Angron. Any other, commissar, if they want to continue something with the Guard and the Orcs, you have Ursula Creed. The options are there. Just because Yarick is dead, it doesn't mean Gaskell falls with him too.
Yeah, and I think it's GW, kind of like what you said, like he could go after Angron. Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome to have Gaskell versus Angron.
Yeah, or whoever did kill Yarick, maybe Gaskell finds out and then he's going to go get his revenge.
Hopefully it's Angron, because now that I think about it, it would be really badass to have the what is it called, the champion of the Blood God fighting the champion of Gork and Mork, or the prophet of Gork and Mork.
Yes.
Yeah. But those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
We are out.
Put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never